So that sticks, doesn't it? That really sticks.
Yeah, it gives in the craw. Yeah, it does. Yeah. But I'll say it when I say it. So you are right. Royale is dog shit. I'll give you that. And Højbjerg, I'm still not sure he's good enough, but he's been playing well recently. And some of those little cheeky dinks balls over to Kane, which we saw in the last couple of games, were something that clearly they've been working on.
Yeah,
and it's working nicely.
That was a clever. Anybody that says Højbjerg can't see a pass, he can. He can. But I'm not sure he can actually execute it as well as maybe an Ericsson, but he can see it. This is the
difference, isn't it? When we've all played Sunday League, and when you've got a really decent player next to you, everyone suddenly ups their game, and you can see it from Højbjerg, from the rest of the players, Kulusevski, Bentancur, that sort of thing does raise everyone's levels, and we're starting to see that and reap the benefits of it.
And then they go back down a few levels as soon as they see Kane on the free kicks.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Go on, Ben. What you're going to say?
I played Sunday League, and Jamie's saying that you can see it. I couldn't because they made me take my fucking glasses off.
and also, you were shit, weren't you?
Yeah, I was pretty shit. Yeah, but
were you in goal as well?
They didn't have those sports glasses at that time. They didn't have those sports glasses when you played.
It's funny.
I had the big sports strap.
Yeah.
It's funny. I remember when I was at school, it was always a bloke with the glasses that was picked last for the football.
Yeah, I wasn't.
He was always in goal, wasn't he?
Actually, yeah.
So, I'm conscious, Simon. I said I was going to come to you, so I'm sure you can hopefully pick up on this. But in terms Lee, you said we were confident, or we dominated the whole game and we played really well. I didn't think, although we dominated possession, I didn't think we actually played that well in the first half. I know we scored in the first half. I didn't think we played really, really well. I don't think we actually improved our performance until we scored. I thought up until then we were kind of sloppy with the ball and turned over possession quite a lot. Although for a team like Brighton, who like to press really high and aggressively, I felt we dealt with that quite well. But actually, in terms of retaining possession and and attacking with purpose, I didn't think that we really achieved that until we got the goal.
Okay, so I think there's a bit of psychology in this, isn't there? So we've been to Brighton a few times. We have very mixed results. I think having got our, with our form being what it was, I'm not saying there's nerves, but I think there's definitely an element of trying to settle into a team, a style, and a way of playing, and trying to make it all fit together. So I think that's definitely what was going on. There was a number of chances which could have been. So I don't think that was it felt to me that things were sort of happening, but they weren't quite happening as clinically as they might, or as accurate as they might, but definitely better than perhaps we've expected. We've been to Brighton and had terrible results as well as pretty good ones. So I kind of feel that it was a decent enough performance, but somewhat let down by the fact that actually, had we been slightly more clinical and with a couple more finishes, it could have been potentially 3.
Well, you're right. Yeah, I mean, Harry had that open goal, didn't he, at the start?
Yeah, and then you're sort of even thinking less about it. So
yeah,
I think I kind of, from what I saw, because don't forget I've only seen the highlight package because I didn't find it on TV anyway. We kind of gone from we have no midfield to now we have a midfield, and we're going from we have a midfield to actually they're rather good. So it's almost like game by game we're seeing an improvement.
Yeah,
and actually going from dodgy win loss to actually they're pretty good and 2-0 could have easily been 3-4-0. I'm okay. I think that was a good result. I do understand what you're saying though, which is the confidence needs to build, and it doesn't build overnight. And then it does, and if it keeps building the way it is building, because we can look at West Ham by contrast, you can then say, well, actually, you keep going in a direction, And that can only be a good thing. It's a shame, obviously, and I know you've covered it elsewhere. You know, the United game was quite poor in certain areas. So if you look at the Brighton game and then look back at the United game, do you collectively see there's been an improvement from United to Brighton? And then do you see another improvement from Brighton to West Ham? Because then at least you can then say we're trending in the right direction.
I would. Obviously, the others, if they want to, can come in on this. But I would suggest that actually, up until the goal, the United performance was better than the Brighton performance. It was just the individual errors defensively that cost us for the game. But as an overall performance, if you spoke to Conte about the overall performance, you'd find that he was probably pleased with the overall performance, just not the individual switch offs. Whereas if you look at the goal that we scored, and I think, and maybe that's what it needed, but it was a touch fortunate in terms of the goal that we scored, because it wasn't a well hit, a well struck shot by Kulusevski, but it was that little, it was the little deflection off of Romero.
Steve, just picking up on what you're saying there and what Simon was saying as well. There has been a little bit of an element of sloppiness, which is frustrating. But I think that's part of them learning that system, in that it looks sloppy if it goes wrong. But actually, some of those passes that they're making, like Bentancur and a couple of the others, they're actually quite risky passes.
Yeah. Oh no, I 100% agree with that.
So if they get them right, and it clicks, and when they practice enough, they will get them right more often.
But it's risk and reward, isn't it? If you don't do it, you're just going to look stodgy.
I mean, did you see Bentancur on the edge of the box yesterday? And he had two players coming in on him, and he just really slowly went that way, turned, and their players were like, "Oh."
He's like Berbatov, isn't he? He just finds space in the tightest areas.
And Berbatov was absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
what he could do.
But going back to the United thing, I actually thought, I agree. I think we actually played pretty well against United.
I think that was the frustrating thing about United. Actually, we played well, but we were beaten by Ronaldo.
Obviously, like Dyer, like you could argue, he should have shut down the first goal. Maybe the defending for the third one was pretty horrific, wasn't it? To be honest, but I actually thought, I thought we played pretty well.
Yeah.
I think so, and I think, Lee, just to go back to your point about the play, and I think it's a point that a note that I've made in terms of, I think we said we were going to talk about this pattern, this change in this pattern of play that you're seeing now, and we're much better at playing out from the back, much better. And as Andy said, it's that risk versus reward, and they've been encouraged to take the risk with the ball and support the player on the ball. And you'll notice that the centre backs are key to this and massively integral to how we play in terms of doing that, because you'll suddenly find that one of, like, either Dyer or Romero will come right into central midfield, right across. So we'll come right across the other, the line of the other player to fill a space and be an extra body in there and provide that link play. And we are playing a lot more little give and goes around players, with lots of players supporting. And then all of a sudden, where the commentators are going, they're in trouble. Oh, well done. Haven't they got out of that? And it's happening more and more often. Haven't they got out of that really, really well? And all of a sudden they're away. And we're learning to manoeuvre the ball much better. Go on, Andy.
Yeah. Well, the thing is as well, when you're playing out from the back, it always seems like it's a long way to get forward. But if you're playing it out really efficiently, which we seem to be doing, then you're hitting your front men really quickly. And if you can get the ball to Kane, who's dropping deep, I think all of a sudden it's a break.
I think it's they seem to know when to do that, because there are a lot of times where you think, there's been times for me anyway, where I think, okay, we've got the ball in midfield and Bentancur or Højbjerg can play forward, and then they've gone back and they've gone out to one of the centre backs, he's gone across back into the centre backs, and then out again, and then goes in. So
are you talking about playing out from the back from the keeper, right from the back, or are you talking about recycling the ball?
I'm talking about recycling the ball.
Right,
recycling the ball. So,
but that's all about shifting the other team across the pitch, though, isn't it? And making them, yeah.
I noticed that as well yesterday. I know we're jumping ahead here, but that was in a couple of the other games from the back, not necessarily, as we're saying, from the keeper, but that areas around there where we're very, very tight and we've still got the confidence and the bravery to pass it around. It could, you could easily get robbed there and they've got a goal scoring chance, but we're managing to pass it very accurately, very quickly, and then come out. And I think also, going back to what we were saying about Bentancur, I think he's one of the catalysts now to this team, because he's able to do that in the midfield and play those through balls and play those passes, forward searching passes.
He's the glue, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is, and we haven't had that at all for long.
I would suggest actually that Romero is the key to that.
Romero's brilliant at it. Yeah,
he is.
Because he comes out of position and all of a sudden he's a body in a different area of the pitch than the other team were expecting. Sorry, and he's very unorthodox with how he, with his use of the ball, but he's accurate with his passing. So I think I used to say about Vertonghen with the ball, I used to love how he'd distribute the ball from the back, and I thought he was better than Toby, for example, in terms of playing the ball forward. And I see that in Romero in terms of how he plays and just plays balls around the corner and through spaces and angles that you don't think should be
not
played.
He's not afraid to end up in the box as well, either, is he? So, you'll often gallop forward and end up in those forward positions.
Well, like he was for Kulusevski's goal. Yeah. Like, what the hell is he doing there?
Interesting.
Sorry, I'll just say the Bentancur, I think it's exactly what we need. We need someone else than Harry Kane to play balls to Harry Kane.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. Yeah,
which happened for the second goal. It was Bentancur playing the ball on for Kane to run onto and for him to score.
I've got to say about that second goal, Kane's control for that just before he made the pass, that was brilliant. Because he was actually controlling it on 2 feet and turning. And then he's had the vision. It was real kind of Glenn Hoddle, I thought. It was brilliant. Yeah.
The thing, though, I've been thinking about this recently with Kane and the way he can pass the ball, control the ball. I think the golf that he plays, I think it's really, really helping what he does.
Is this the golf he plays with Gary Neville, or are you talking about?
No. I'm just saying that if you know how to slice a ball from bottom left, bottom right, top spin, if you can,
I see.
If you can twat a ball like that, it transcends.
Do you think he's actually bringing his golf game into the football? Then?
I think he is. When you see the way that he, slices the ball and he plays the ball, definitely 110%. 110%.
I said it before on here.
Yeah.
Like, I think Jose definitely did a lot for Harry's game. I think he did.
So has Royale been playing crazy golf?
Did you see Royale yesterday when he flopped to the floor and he started laughing? Has anyone seen that?
We'll come on to that, because there's a special bit that we need to talk about when we discuss the West Ham game. So let's quickly we'll sum up the Brighton game. Just before we do that, Simon, you were going to come in a minute ago. Did you still, was that point still valid that you wanted to make?
Only that. I just happened to get up the pass matrix for just to look at the stats to see what the pairings are like. And it's interesting that Højbjerg and Bentancur seem to have a significant pairing. So they're passing to each other a lot. And whilst Højbjerg seems to additionally kind of, he will look at Kulusevski, but also kind of he'll go to the side to Doherty, etc. It's just interesting. It just struck me how much, if they're going to play it forward, that it seems to come down from Højbjerg down through the middle down to Bentancur. So I just thought that was an interesting pairing, and it kind of, and if they're playing it from the back, see how that develops.